ladies and gentlemen. Let me put on some Mackin music so I can chop up some game with the family real quickly. But Hidden Colors 3, again, that's going to be in theaters June 26th. So you got to go check that out. You got to experience that in a room full of people. When you're in a theater full of people and you feel that positive energy, it's nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. So you definitely want to check that out. Now, on today's show, we're going to talk about the whole Beyonce, Jay-Z, Solange fiasco that happened. Now, everybody knows on Monday a tape came out of Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister, fighting Jay-Z or attacking Jay-Z in an elevator at an upscale event in New York. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to break that down and give my thoughts on that a little bit later. But we have to talk about the new Donald Sterling interview. Donald Sterling, you know, we've been talking about him for the last few weeks, the owner or soon-to-be former owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. He had a mistress. He was caught on tape making these very racial, racist, white supremacist remarks about black people. And he got put on out there. He got put on blast. And everybody's been talking about this. The NBA, they're banning him from the league. I know for a second he was trying to transfer ownership to his wife. They're not letting the wife get ownership of it. And a lot of people have been putting some very interesting perspectives on Donald Sterling. Like my brother Umar Johnson, he's been doing interviews talking about how this really isn't about race at all. Because again, they really give a fuck about black folks. It's just that people within his own circle, they're ousting him because they've gotten tired of his antics. He's not playing along with the rules, and a lot of people they kind of have this consensus that he's been ousted by his own. And when you think about it, that makes a lot of sense because they really don't let black people take down one of their own. People within these inner circles of wealthy billionaires and big time money makers, they're not going to let some black Mexican chick ruin somebody's empire unless they're complacent with it, unless they want it to happen. You got to understand this, when white supremacists, when they make missteps, you have other people who are white supremacists and even suspected white supremacists and even non-white supremacists who will protect the white supremacists. If you listen to my show that I did a few weeks ago with the lady who called up the suspected white supremacists, she was calling up defending Donald Sterling, and she was saying how much she wasn't a racist and her boyfriend was black and she was married to a black guy for 25 years. I mean, she was super extra liberal, but she was still psychologically down to protect white supremacists. Because a lot of times, even if you're not a white supremacist, you might have a white supremacist in your family, and you will want to protect that person in many cases, which is still dangerous. But with Donald Sterling again, and I'm digressing into a whole bunch of things, but with Donald Sterling, they gave him a chance to give an interview, to give his side of the story, to tell his side, because everybody's throwing him under the bus. So they want to give him a chance to tell his story. Now, his handlers, I'm sure his PR people, they basically said, look, Donald, all you have to do, we're going to set you up with an interview with Anderson Cooper. He's going to throw you some softball questions, which Anderson Cooper didn't go too hard on him. But Anderson Cooper threw some softball questions at him. He kind of, dug a little bit and called him out on his hypocrisy a little bit. But Anderson Cooper threw some softball questions. And Donald Sterling's only thing, all you had to do, Donald Sterling, and I'm talking as his PR reps, all he had to do, they sat him down and said, look, Donald, just don't be racist for 5 minutes. We're going to set this softball interview up with Anderson Cooper. Donald, all you have to do is not sound like a white supremacist for 5 minutes. That's all you got to do. Poor Donald Sterling couldn't even do that. This interview was a mess. I'm going to play some clips of it, and I'm going to give some commentary during the clips, but he was all over the place. The dude started throwing Magic Johnson under the bus. I mean, this dude was a complete train wreck, and I loved every minute of it. Like I said, all you got to do with a white supremacist is let them talk. Just give them enough rope to hang themselves. It's a beautiful thing when you're dealing with an old school white supremacist. It's with Sterling, it's just racism to the bone. He can't help himself. And let's start off with some of these clips. Here we go. This is the first one.
I'm not a racist. I made a terrible, terrible mistake. And I'm here with you today to apologize.
Now, this is what they've been rehearsing, all right? They've been rehearsing. You got to come on out and apologize and say what you did wrong. And, you can tell that he has memorized this. And then, with the white supremacists, they don't want to do all that. They just want to, the real them is going to come on out.
And to ask for forgiveness for all the people that I've hurt. And I've hurt so many people, so many innocent people. And I've hurt myself. I spoke to a girl that I was fond of, and I don't know why I could never, when I listened to that tape, I don't even know how I could say words like that.
Oh, Donald. You got a history of saying that shit.
I'm not a racist. I love people. I always have. But those words came out of my mouth, I guess.
Yes, they did.
And I'm so sorry. And I'm so apologetic.
I'm so sorry. I'm so apologetic.
He's sorry about it.
Well, I'm sorry that so many people are hurt. My little grandchild goes to a Catholic nursery, and they were passing around candy to everybody. When they got to her, they said, "We don't give candy to racists." 7 and 9. So it hurts me.
Somebody didn't give his granddaughter some candy. Some other kids were probably taunting her at school. Okay.
It hurt my ex-wife.
Well, before I go on, that's your fault, though, Donald Sterling. That's your fault, dude. You're the white supremacist. Those are words that came out of your mouth.
She is a beautiful person.
Okay, right now he's talking about his ex-wife. So then he starts to deflect and getting into Magic Johnson and all this stuff. So let me play some more of it.
The question then is, why does being seen with a black person not make her a delicate white or delicate Latina?
Okay, so now they're going into Vistiviano. So now they're going into the remarks. So, he was talking about in the tapes that exposed him, she should act like a delicate Latina, she shouldn't be seen with black folks, and he's going to try to explain that.
I can't explain some of the stupid, foolish, uneducated words that I uttered. I don't know. You get upset and you say things.
Yeah, but he wasn't upset in the thing. He wasn't upset. He wasn't saying that stuff out of anger. See, I love how the white supremacists try to justify the shit they do. You dig what I'm saying? He wasn't saying none of that stuff out of anger. He was pretty calm when he was talking to her.
One other thing you said, I'm just saying in your lousy expletive Instagrams, you don't have to have yourself walking with black people. You don't have to. If you want to, do it. Well,
it doesn't make sense. I don't care. I didn't care.
Would it have been okay with you if she was bringing a white person to a game?
She had 4 seats. She brought a lot of people. I don't understand why in the world I said any of those stupid, uneducated remarks.
You said it because you meant it. You said it because you're a white supremacist. You understood why you said it. You were very, very specific about what you said. You said it because that's how you feel.
Because I really don't care who she brought to the game. I was more interested in the game. I was a little jealous, I have to admit, but I don't know. I don't know why I said stupid things.
For a lot of people, though, these comments that were caught on tape do echo other charges that have been made in the past, as you know, by Elgin Baylor in other lawsuits.
No. You're trying to connect them.
No, I'm not.
Elgin Baylor, it has nothing to do with what the things I said 20 years later.
Well,
What did it have to do?
Well, Elgin Baylor made a claim that you had a plantation mentality, and then now in this thing, you're saying you feed these guys.
I think you have more of a plantation mentality than I do.
That's another thing. Why, when you call the white supremacists out, they're always deflecting. Hey, man, that's kind of racist. No, you're the racist. Hey, what you said is kind of a plantation mentality. You got a plantation mentality. That's a very common tactic with white supremacists. They love to deflect onto the person who's accusing them of what they've done.
And I think you're more of a racist than I am. Because I'm not a racist, and I've never been a racist, and I'll never be a racist. I don't know what that means, I have a mentality. You're asking me about questions. What do you mean, a mentality?
What type of plantation mentality is to feel like you own these guys that are working for you?
Do I own them?
I don't know.
My players earn $100 million a year.
But
now,
again,
do I own them?
But in this tape,
some
you're
of them
saying,
own $50 million a year.
In this tape, you're saying I support them, I give them food, and clothes, and cars.
Well,
and
I
houses.
think I create opportunities for them so they can make $100 million. I don't give them anything, believe me. And those players could get that same amount of money anywhere else.
You acknowledge they earn that.
Of course they earn it, and they work harder than any other sport.
Well, Donald Sterling says that he has tons of support. He says the players still love him, and it's just the media that wants him out of the NBA. We'll have that part of the interview next. And later, this is probably the most surprising part of our conversation. Donald Sterling pretty much trashing Magic Johnson.
He done. Can you?
Okay, hold on. Let me break that whole Magic thing down because I got a lot of notes on that. But again, he was still talking with that plantation mentality in regards to the players. And again, you notice all the deflection and that whole Magic Johnson thing. Again, that's another deflection he goes into. Let me play that.
I didn't give any interviews. You're more my interview. I'm deciding if I like you. No, but I mean, here is a man who's, I don't know if I say this, he acts so holy.
He's talking about Magic Johnson now.
I mean, he made love to every girl in every city in America, and he had AIDS. And when he had those AIDS, I went to my synagogue and I prayed for him.
Wait a minute. He said now, Magic Johnson went around and made love to every girl in America, and he got those AIDS. Hold on. This motherfucker is hilarious. Hold on.
I don't know if I say this, he acts so holy. I mean, he made love to every girl in every city in America, and he had AIDS. And when he had those AIDS, I went to my synagogue and I prayed for him. I hoped he could live and be well. I didn't criticize him. I could have. Is he an example for children? You know, because he has money, he's able to treat himself. But Magic Johnson is irrelevant in this thing. He didn't do anything harmful to anybody, and I respect him and I admire everything that he does. You know, I'd like to help even more if he would offer me an opportunity to help. I like to help minorities.
Magic Johnson had said that, you know, he would never attend a game while you were owner, apparently.
And then that's another thing. See, what happened was Sterling wanted Magic Johnson to go on Barbara Walters with him, and Magic was like, no, I'm cool, because he wanted to get Magic on Barbara Walters with him so Magic can kind of save him. And Magic was like, no, I'm cool on that. No, you're going to have to hold your own nuts.
He showed up to a game today.
He would never what?
Attend a Clippers game as long as you were owner. And he came today to see the game.
He's there at the game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worthy of even discussing such a stupid remark. But he lulled me into waiting a week. Do you know what I mean? He said, don't do anything.
He told you, you're saying he told you not to say anything?
Yeah, don't do anything. I know the girl. Don't do anything.
And that, now Magic, because they've interviewed Magic now, Magic said, I don't know that damn V. Stiviano. So Sterling is putting all this stuff out on Magic, talking about Magic has never done anything. Magic has done a lot of stuff for the community. The Magic Johnson Foundation has been around since the early 90s. So Magic, if you're going to talk about black people doing stuff, Magic is one of the few that really does stuff for a lot of black folks. Magic and giving black folks computers and jobs, and he had the Magic Johnson Theater, employed just thousands of black people. So he's given a real bad example of black people not doing anything. Let me play the rest of it.
I'll help you. I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting.
What you're saying is Magic Johnson called you up, or you called him up?
I don't know his phone number.
He called you up when the tape.
I don't call anybody.
He called you
I'm
up.
loyal to you.
He called you up when the tape came out, and he told you not to say anything.
Yeah.
Why did he say don't say anything?
He just said, wait, be patient, I'll help you.
This dude is lying. Now, why would Magic call him up and say, hey, don't say anything? Magic said that Sterling called him, which is more believable. Why would Magic call this dude? Magic didn't really have anything to do with this whole situation.
We'll work it out.
Why do you think he said that?
I think he wanted me to just do nothing so he could buy the team. He thought maybe the whole thing would be resolved in 2 weeks. Well, what has he done? Can you?
Now he's about to get into Magic. See, watch this deflection. That's another thing that the white supremacists like to do. They love to deflect. Now he's about to go into Magic. It's all out the blue.
What has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
And he keeps saying that, big Magic Johnson, big black ass Magic. That's what he wants to say. Big bad Magic Johnson. What has he done? I mean, the racism is just seething underneath this dude.
He's a business person.
He's got AIDS.
Yep.
Did he do any business?
He's like, he got AIDS. That's what he did.
Did he help anybody in South LA?
Well, I think he has HIV. He doesn't actually have full-blown AIDS. But
Well, what kind of a guy goes to every city, has sex with every girl, then he catches HIV? And is that someone we want to respect and tell our kids about?
Okay. Let me follow the logic. So we shouldn't respect Magic Johnson because he got a disease that he didn't mean to catch? So if you catch a disease, you don't deserve respect? Is that what you're saying? What kind of shit is that? So we shouldn't respect any person with any kind of AIDS or any kind of HIV, so we shouldn't respect them no more? Because it's something that they did on purpose? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, listen to the logic in this dude. You got to understand the mind of a white supremacist. It's all over the place. One sentence contradicts the next. They're just all over the place in order to justify their white supremacist views.
I think he should be ashamed of himself. I think he should go into the background. But what does he do for the black people? Doesn't do anything.
That's a lie. This dude keeps saying that, and that's another thing with white supremacists. They get out here and just keep repeating lies and just the repetitiveness of lie after lie after lie. And a lot of times it doesn't get checked. So I'm glad that Magic was able to defend himself, because what Sterling is doing is just flat out lying. Magic has done so many things for black folks.
You call up and
he's opened a lot of businesses in inner city neighborhoods.
The Jewish people have a company, and it's for people who want to borrow money and no interest.
Now, listen to this now. Listen to this.
They want to give them a fishing pole. We want to help people. If they don't have the money, we'll loan it to you. You don't have interest, one day you'll pay us back. So I'm just telling you, he does nothing. It's all talk.
So are you saying that African Americans don't contribute to African American communities as much as Jewish
There's
people?
no African American. Never mind.
He was about to go there. But he cut himself off. He was about to go somewhere, but he cut himself off. He's like, oops, wait a minute. I'm being too damn racist for myself. I'm going there. Now, there's some people online who are kind of agreeing with what this guy was saying. That those in the Jewish community, they help each other out, and the African Americans don't do this. Well, look, we've had people like Claude Anderson, George Frazier, just so many people meet, all in the black community for years, for decades, talking about the need and importance of group economics. So we're not going to co-sign Sterling because he's not being totally honest and genuine with what he's saying. He's just talking to create a smokescreen. You understand what I'm saying? This whole thing where, well, the blacks don't do this. Dude, you're an NBA owner. They are known to low-key sabotage players financially. If players really use that money to do things for a lot of black folks in big numbers and they band it together in big numbers, they would be sabotaged by the league. The league does a lot of low-key shit to sabotage these guys, especially Sterling. Even if you're not an NBA player, this dude has a history of disenfranchising black folks. There was a story that came out today about Sterling. 10 years ago, this dude evicted like a partially paralyzed black lady from one of his apartments, and I quote, and you can look this up, in court, one of the witnesses testified that he said, "Is she one of those blacks that stink? If so, evict the bitch." Verbatim. I'm not making none of this up. This story just came out today about him. There was a black lady that she was complaining about things that needed to be fixed in one of the apartment buildings that Sterling owned. It was just like water leaking everywhere. And then they evicted this partially paralyzed black lady, and the lady ended up dying of a stroke or whatever, and I think he got sued for that. So he ain't at liberty to talk about what black folks should do and all that, because he's part of the problem of disenfranchising black folks. Let's be very clear. So I'm not giving him any props on him talking about what black folks need to do. We got people who can handle that within our community and discuss that in a genuine way in our community. You understand what I'm saying? And he's not saying that because he's trying to give us some kind of financial advice, because he's not being totally honest. Because the thing is, first of all, we don't have the luxury to do what he did, which is change our last name and assimilate into the dominant society and low-key work for our ethnic group like he did. His name is not Sterling, by the way, family. His last name is really Tokowitz. His name is Donald Tokowitz. That Sterling is not his last name. He changed his last name in 1959. And in the court records, the reason why he changed his name, he said, and this is in the court records, he changed it to Sterling because he thought that the name Sterling, he believed the name Sterling would be more financially beneficial to him. Look up what I'm saying if you think I'm bullshitting. So that's a very important thing to leave out, because if you're from a marginalized group and you're able to cloak that or change your name to fit in covertly within the dominant society in order to build a certain level of wealth, you can't point the finger at a group who can't do that. So there's a lot of things that I have a problem with that, and certain black folks were trying to co-sign what he was saying. Now look, we need to practice group economics. We need to practice group economics, but it's not about the celebrities doing it. Let me put on some Mackin music while I talk about this for a second, because this is very important. We need group economics, but it needs to be with the everyday black person. Because the thing is, we have certain black celebrities, but there's only a handful of black celebrity millionaires. They're just regulated to athletes and entertainers. You understand that? Most of the black people with a lot of money are athletes and entertainers, and they're kept on a short leash. Black athletes and black entertainers are kept on a short leash. And if they did too much for their community, that would create too much of a red flag. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't, because many of them do. Many of them do, but we got to stop looking to the black celebrity to do things that we as a community need to do. Black people, the guy who works at the post office or the guy who works at the car wash, we all need a code. Because then we get into that whole mentality where one person gets something, you deserve to give it to all of us. And that's not how people think generally. Everybody's supposed to have a code where we're going to do business with each other, and we're all going to build up group wealth. Because a lot of times, cats get this fake consciousness when you see another black person doing something fly. When you see another black person becoming successful, all of a sudden, niggas start talking this, well, what about the community talk, when you ain't gave a shit about the community in never. Now that somebody else has got some money, you're trying to count their money and tell them what to do with their money. We should do it all together. Because if a person is talking about what you need to do for the community and you ain't doing it, you're sitting around drinking and smoking a blunt, you're not at liberty to talk about what the next brother, or Floyd Mayweather or Oprah should do with their money. You're just not at liberty to do that, because other people in their communities, they don't do that either. Because it ain't like a bunch of successful Jewish people or successful Irish people or any other group. It's not like they're just giving money to a whole bunch of poor people. They're not doing that. Don't let them fool you. It's just that a lot of people in that community, they just happen to be on the same page on every level, and they choose to do business with one another. They choose to practice group economics. In the Asian community, they do this too. These marginalized groups, they choose to practice group economics, and black folks, we're looked down upon when we do that, and we've started to look down upon ourselves for doing that. So now this is why I've been preaching the importance of group economics from every level, not just pointing at the Floyd Mayweathers and the Jay-Z's and all that, but all of us should be down to practice group economics and get that hater gene out of you. Because when you see somebody black doing something, don't let that hate rise up in you. This is for the cat who's not a millionaire. Even now, look, my movie Hidden Colors 3 is coming out. I got people now talking about, hey man, this should be free. Right now, niggas are still talking about that we should give Hidden Colors away for free bullshit. So that type of mentality has to die within the black community. That's a cancer that you should give it free to us because you black and I'm black. That bullshit needs to stop. And that comes from the lower level. It doesn't come from the top.
This is the JB's Monorail.
Good evening. Hello and what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mo Man Truth Show. It's a show where we tell the truth around here, right there. It's a cold day today, y'all. On this May the 16th, 2014. Hello? Hello?
I need to speak with Mr. or Mrs. Marvin Moore, please.
Hold on a second. Like I was saying, today is May the 16th. (2014). Today is Friday. And although it was a nice day, but it was chilly outside today. So I'm hoping nobody froze to death out there. Although it wasn't really cold enough to freeze to death, but it was chilly out there today, and I was forced to go outside. I had some place that I had to be, and had to go out there in that weather. Had the nerve to have some shorts on, y'all. Put one of my blue jean shorts on, which was a mistake. That was a mistake. Should not have done that one. Testing. Alrighty. So I'm hoping you guys were able to keep warm. I know I tried to. Had a little skimpy jacket on. Should have put a real jacket on. That's what I should have did. But hopefully you were dressed appropriately, dressed right for the weather today. As you know, that clip that I played, as you may know, that clip that I played before the show, that was my man and my somewhat mentor. Not a real mentor, but somewhat. Tariq Nasheed. I played a clip from one of his shows. For those of you who do not know who Tariq Nasheed is, the author, filmmaker, game advisor, who's very talented, very informative, and very good at expressing his thoughts and feelings on today's current events, and in particularly the problems facing black people today. So if you will take the time out to check out the ism that man spits, you will not be disappointed. Very educational stuff, y'all. As for anybody that listened to the clip that I played earlier, as you can see, it's very educational. Makes a lot of sense. And shares things with you, put things on your mind that you may not have thought of before. I'll go ahead and mention today's topic. Tonight's topic is mixed with the question mark behind it. Mixed, but are you black? And that would be tonight's topic. And I'll talk some more on that in a little bit. On giving a description on what I mean by the question. Mixed, but are you black? If you notice, for anybody that's been keeping up with the show, my topics tend to be more personal, and may sometimes be topics that people are not too comfortable with talking about. I like to try to think of topics that you don't normally hear on other radio programs. The type of topics that I would like to hear. So I try to make up topics that I would like to hear, and that if I was a listening viewer, that I'd like to call up and discuss. You know, more personal topics. And so I'm hoping that I have at least a few listeners tonight that will listen in and call in and give their views on the topic. And in the meantime, what I will do is I will move on as those of you that regularly listen to the show, you know I always do a trivia. And tonight ain't no different. I'm gonna do a trivia also, like I usually do. By the way, that's Atomic Dog by George Clinton. For those of you that remember that one. That tune there that I'm playing now, that's one of them songs, kind of like one of them, like James Brown, that never plays out. It never gets old. No matter where you at, work club, what event, when this song comes on, you start tapping your feet and bopping your head. It's one of those songs that make you want to get up and do something. I'm not talking about me, y'all, because I can't dance worth the crap. But for those of you that can dance, that can get on the floor and cut a rug, baby. But I do remember when this came out. That was a long time ago. I was definitely a teenager when this came out. Meow. Meow. But to the trivia, tonight's trivia, for those of you that got your ears open, the trivia, the TRIDIA is the Civil Rights Act was signed into law by what president? And I will repeat that again, because it needs to be repeated again. I said the Civil Rights Act was signed into law by what president? So you go ahead and think that over. And when you get ready, or when you feel you got the answer, if you think you know the answer, you go ahead and call up at 309-679-0487. That's 309-679-0487. Call up the Mo Man Truth Show. And go ahead and give a shot to that trivia. I had took myself a nap before the show started because I wanted to be alert, wanted to be woke, because it's no fun sitting up here trying to be entertaining and you're sleepy at the same time. That ain't gonna work. So I had to get in some beauty rest. I'm not 23, 24 years old no more, so I'm at that stage now, as a lot of you can relate to, where when you eat something you get sleepy. I don't know what brings that about or why that happens. As a matter of fact, I keep forgetting to ask my doctors about that. Why does that happen and what can you do about it? You know, you eat a sandwich and get sleepy. Or eat a meal, eat dinner and get sleepy. I ate some leftover corned beef that I had, some corned beef and some broiled vegetables. Cause I'm trying to eat right. When you lived your whole life of kind of eating bad, eating foods that are not too good for you. I had recently, within the last maybe 4 or 5 months, I started trying to get conscious about what I eat. Trying to eat better. And a lot of foods I cut out. I stopped eating like pork, a lot of pork. Every now and then I'll still eat some bacon. Because I like bacon. So every now and then I eat bacon with some breakfast foods. Why must I chase the cat? I cut back on the eggs because of the cholesterol. My cholesterol level has gotten high to the point where I had to start taking medication for it. Because you don't want to be catching no heart attack around here. Right there. Don't catch it. Don't catch it. Do the dog. The number 309-679-0487. So I've been messing with vegetables. And vegetables is a great thing because it's something that's supposed to be healthy for you. I'm eating more fruits and vegetables. It's healthy for you and at the same time it's not that expensive. I mean, when you can get a whole cabbage for less than $2, you know, make you a pot of broiled cabbage with a little meat in it, maybe a little smoked meat or something. Smoked meat, cabbage, season it up, make it some cornbread. You know, that's a good healthy meal. Don't put too much salt in it. Don't put dangerous ingredients in the food. I stopped eating butter. I used to only eat butter with my foods. That's probably why I got high cholesterol. I used to only really like the real butter. But I had to cut that out and buy that butter substitute stuff. Stuff that kind of acts like butter, doesn't really taste like it. But it's more healthier for you. So I think it's good to get conscious about your diet. And I tell you another thing, you will find that you actually feel better. You'll feel better. Yep, you'll feel better when you start to eat better. Energy level seems to go up. I seem to have more energy. And I'm not as sleepy as I used to be. Y'all remember the Bee Gees? It's the Bee Gees, y'all. It's How Can You Mend a Broken Heart?
Younger days when living for my life.
That was one of my favorite groups.
Was everything a man could want to do.
They always had a funny way of singing, but it worked for that group though. But it worked. My world about the sorrow. Y'all remember that? How can you mend a broken heart? Can you mend a broken heart? Or does your broken heart just mend by itself? Who out there has not ever had their heart broken? Raise your hand. Isn't that the worstest thing? Remember that feeling? Remember that sickness, that mental sickness you went through when you got your heart broke? And I think women are under the impression that we don't hurt like they do. Shoot. We hurt just as bad, if not more. Because if you really look at it, look at the things that men do when we get our heart broke. Men will resort to violence, murder, tearing up property because his heart broke.
I can still feel the breeze.
Not saying that women don't do that too, but not like men. We will tear something up when we want that girl and she don't want us. I'm not talking about me, of course. Which I have done stupid stuff, made a fool out of myself being in love. But I didn't go trying to burn the house down, tear the car up, cutting up her dress, nothing like that. Just had to wait it out, y'all. You know, had to wait it out. Move on until it wears off. Because in all reality, there's all kinds of big breasts is out there. You don't want to ruin your life over one set of breasts. And for the women, you don't want to ruin your life over one set of hairy testicles. 309-679-0487. That is the call-up number. The lines are now open if you'd like to call up. 309-679-0487, baby. And like I said, the trivia of tonight is the Civil Rights Act was signed into law by what president? Which president signed the Civil Rights Act, y'all? When it was signed into law. Now you call this number up and answer that question, you will win absolutely nothing. That's a hard way of putting it, ain't it? You will win absolutely nothing. I don't know what that was. First of all, Betty Wright would like to say good evening. Everybody come in and share all the love and all the happiness that she has in store for you.
That's just what we have in mind.
Is that all right with y'all?
All right with you. Now, this is a tune that I composed.
Tonight is the night.
It's called Tonight is the Night.
That you make me a man.
That you make me a woman. Now, I never intended recording this song. It was a personal poem.
I decided to use that topic for the night. Mixed? But are you black?
He came across the words and he said,
I was inspired by that through a conversation online that I was having with a young lady that I know.
It's the story of a young girl
And that is a reality
First time.
of
Now,
quite a few black people,
when I
that are black,
got a melody,
but they feel that because they're mixed with something,
I played it for my
that
mother.
they're not really black.
I gotta tell you a little bit about my mother. You see, I come from one of those pretty large families, and I'm the baby of the.
Do you know anybody like that?
You never grow up to your mother. I'll never forget the.
Do you know anybody like that? Perhaps maybe someone in your family
I like the
that
music.
intentionally and on purposely
It's really nice, but I know you're not.
try hard not to relate and identify with being black, even though you know that they're black as you.
One of my biggest records too. So I want you to do this for me, if you will. Everybody,
Now, what do you look like being a black person?
think back.
And when you fill out forms and papers,
Very
you mark
first
other.
time.
If that's the case, we all need to be marking other. Hell, I'm mixed with some. I mean, you can't readily tell by looking at me. Looking at me, I just show all signs of all black man.
Now, I'm giving
I don't look
you
nothing but
my
black, and I'm proud of it.
Some of you
And I'm glad I do.
have to think back a little bit further than others.
Not saying that if I look mixed, that would be a problem for me. Hey, I'm accepting me for whatever cards I was dealt. I'm satisfied. I'm proud to have that black lineage in me. When one wanted no other way.
Here's my story.
Because I'm part of a great history. And not just history, but even today. Still a great people. Just lost mentally. And I think, in my personal opinion, one day we'll be great again. Great as before, rather.
You said you
We just need to get our minds right. You know, need to shed off that slave mentality and that ignorance, low self-esteem, and trying to purposely miss the label of being black. And for those of you that had a white mothers or a mother or a father that wasn't black, and because they didn't put black on your birth certificate, that does not mean that you're not a black person. Oh, he'll put you on the silly hands, and we're both old enough to know right from wrong. Tonight is the night. Now, me, myself, I have met in my life, I have been acquainted with people that upon looking at them at first glance, looking at them, you would think they were white, because in fact, physically, they are white, physically. I know a brother and a sister that were born to white parents, to a white mother and a white father, but for some reason, I don't know why, how the circumstances went, but they were raised by a black family. And I had never, even though they look white, I had never thought of them as being white, because culturally, character-wise, mannerism-wise, and their thought processes were just as black as mine or any other black person. Me, myself, I was able to look past the way they looked. If they went anywhere in public and did not open their mouths, the public would think they were white people. And they were white. They were white because they were white physically. They were white physically because they, blood-wise, their mother and their father was white. So because on that level, yeah, I'd have to agree that they were white. But me, myself, I still never if I had to label them, I wouldn't label them as white. Because they were just as black as me in their character, in their culture, in their background, their upbringing. Yep. Saying I wanna thank you, Lord, 'cause you make me feel good, and I love you, baby. So what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that if you were to take a Chinese, let's say an Asian male or female that was born to Asian parents, maybe Korean parents, maybe Chinese parents, and I love you, baby, because you make me, or some type of Asian nationality or whatever, and let's say you took them as a baby. They were born to Asian parents, but they were raised in a white family. Something like, what's his name? Tiger Woods. Now, to me, I don't see Tiger Woods as a black man. I don't see Tiger Woods as a black man. I don't think that Tiger Woods would be able to be into a room full of black men, me and other black men as myself, and really be able to relate to us like that. He couldn't do the handshake. He couldn't do the language and the accents, thought process. Because he's not necessarily cut from the same cloth, and I'm not cut from the same cloth as him. Life-wise, experiences, culture-wise. Not saying that I wouldn't be able to enjoy a conversation with the man, because I can talk with anybody. Still be able to have a meaningful and joyful conversation with him. But I don't think he would really relate to me like other black people would, or like a black person would. Even though he's definitely mixed with black himself. I think Tiger Woods' father is black. I think his father is black and his mother is Asian. This here's the Chi-Lites, y'all. From the Chi-Lites, Toby. It was a sad day when Toby went away. From the Chi-Lites. So my question to those that are mixed with black and something else, like what would provoke a person like that to prefer to be something else? Like, do they feel like their lives will be easier, or they will be accepted more? If they claim to be something else. I knew a girl one time that I was associating with. She was a white girl, and she would always stress that she was Italian. Which, granted, her background is Italian. I know her mother was Italian. I'm not sure what her father was. He may have been Italian too. Her mother was Italian. But as far as Italian character, Italian ways, Italian mannerisms and things like that, she had none of that. To me, she was just a corny white girl. She acted like an American white girl. But in her mind, she would brag that she was Italian. Really didn't even look Italian, to tell you the truth. So you do have those that want to be something else so bad. The calling number is 309-679-0487. 309-679-0487. I have even been around white young men that were bragging that they were black. Uh-oh. Hold on, y'all. Got to get this music right. Sometimes, boy, these songs, they go by so quick. They go off just as quick as they come on sometimes. Break your promise. Didn't I blow your mind this time? Didn't I? Oh, baby. How about we deal with a little old school rap? Want to hear something from the old school? I know what. Let me see. I just seen something that I know I like. Where's it at, y'all? Let's get down on a little of this here. Short and funk, don't stop. To the hip. I have a granddaughter. As a matter of fact, I have 2 grandchildren that are mixed. I have a 3-year-old grandson. Life is too short, but now it's kind of funky. I make the beats for me and my homies. Newspaper reporters and others always ask me why I'm X-rated and I rap so nasty. When I was a teen, I did nothing else but pick up a pen and express myself. I have a 3-year-old grandson, and he's mixed with black and Mexican. His mother's black, which is my daughter, and he has a Mexican father. And I have another granddaughter, another grandchild. She's 5, just recently made 5. This was it this month? Yeah. Or was it last month? I think it was last month. And her father's black, which is my son, and her mother is a white female. And who, by the way, her mother is one of the most ratchetest, ghetto-ish young ladies that I have ever met in my life. I would probably say the most. I don't think I've ever met a female worse than that. I don't want to go into detail into down on the woman right now, but I could go on and on how ratchet this girl is. As a matter of fact, I got another granddaughter. The granddaughter that I just got through talking about, her little sister. So my son has 2 daughters, and they're both mixed. So I have 3 grandchildren that are mixed. But here's the thing. Although they are mixed with another race, short, funky, don't stop. to the hip. Although they are mixed with another race, the truth of the matter is, the way that they're being raised, the environment they're being raised in, and who they're being raised around, the culture, ideas, rapping the dance tune. I like the kind of mellow with the sound of the bass boom. The style is mine, I've been doing it for 10. You might say it's simple, but I'm making my ends. See, I don't trip. I can't believe I still, after all these years, I still know the words to these. I still know the words to a lot of them. But some dumb fools want to take it out of hand. I go 2-3 years without hearing these songs, then hear them again and still be singing like I just heard them yesterday. In my category, I'm the one and only, and I'ma stay short but funky. Where was I? Oh yeah, about my grandchildren. But they're being raised in a way where they're gonna be black people. Now the mother has made, my two little granddaughters that's mixed, their mother has made comments in the past which signified that she thinks that it's better to be white. She actually one time made a comment that we were in a store, me, my son, and her were in a store one time. The store, and in the store they sold these magazines. You know those X magazines or magazines that showcase sexy black women? They're scantily or scantily clothed. You know, butt cheeks hanging out, breasts hanging out. And they always have real fine women in those magazines. And I was looking through one of the magazines and she came and stood by me. And she had the audacity to make the statement that none of them the women in the magazine could outdo her. She said none of them look better than her because she's white. That's what she said. And if you could have only seen the look that I gave her. Like, really? Really, though? That's why you look better? Let's see what this is. We're gonna rock with Too Short one more time. Then I think I'm gonna go back to the Dusties.
That's what we do. It ain't easy, but I'm telling you, it ain't hard either. All you gotta do is keep hustling, man.
So I think it left up. Luckily,
I don't care.
fortunately, my son is raising his daughters. The mother is not. Because that's just the past.
You know it never lasts. And you know how time flies by so fast. Look at rap music, it said it wasn't bad.
Now my granddaughters are, for the most part, raised in black culture around black people.
You might never find the truth. I had choices in life, I could have did something else. I did what I wanted to, I did.
But I think some of my granddaughters' mothers' arrogance and white supremacy views have somewhat rubbed off on my 5-year-old granddaughter, because when we're in the stores, when I'm in the stores with them, and I try to like get dials for them, I got another granddaughter, my older granddaughter, my 9-year-old granddaughter. If I have those two, the 5-year-old and now my 9-year-old, she's not mixed. Mother's black, father's black. And my 9-year-old granddaughter, she knows that if I buy them dials, I don't buy nothing, but the dials have to be black. And I don't do that because I think that the black dials are better. I do that to offset their impression. I just don't think it's healthy to load a black child. It's okay to give them white dials too, but you need to make sure that there's black dials in the mix also, or even other dials too if you can. No, it's okay. Some Asian dials. African dials, Black American dials. You know, mix it up. I think that's the more healthier way to go as far as the impression. Don't ever give up. Because you don't want them growing up thinking that other people are better than them or that they're lesser. You want to make it an even playing field. They can grow up feeling that they're just as equal. Now you don't want them thinking that they're better or more either. I don't want that to happen. I want their self-esteem to be intact. I want them to know their worth, but I wouldn't want them growing up thinking that they're better than another people based on race. I don't believe that any black person should think they're better than somebody else just because they're black. And the reason why I don't buy the white dials is because they got enough of those already. They already got white dials because their mothers and fathers ignorantly buy that all the time. Now, my daughter, the 9-year-old, her mother, she buys her black dials. I know you can't. I know it ain't working. It's been a long time. You never stop trying, but you can't quit. By the way, the name of this tune is Don't Ever Give Up. If you haven't guessed by now. Never say never. So that's why I make sure that I throw some black dolls off into the mix. And my 5-year-old, she won't accept them. She won't accept the black dials. So I don't buy her dials. I make it clear to her, you're going to get this, you're going to get one of these dials, or you're not going to get none. And surprisingly, she preferred to pick none. Ain't that something? She'd rather have no dial. And if that's the way it's got to be, that's the way it's got to be. And that's the way it's going to be. You get your none then. With some Isley Brothers, For the Love of You. There's no place I'd rather be. Ain't no place I'd rather be than with you. Yeah. Call in number is 309-679-0487. 309-679-0487. And the topic of the show, ladies and gentlemen, is mixed, but are you black? And the trivia is, the Civil Rights Act was signed into law by what president? Like no other. So I keep my eye on my little granddaughter. Sometimes even at 5 years old, she have a little arrogance about herself. And another thing she does is sometimes I do little tests or whatever to see where her little mind is at as far as, you know, race-wise, how she feel about herself, how she feel about other races. She will literally frown up at pictures of black people and call them ugly. In her mind, she always uses the word ugly when describing an image of somebody black. Yeah, my little granddaughter does that. So in her little mind, which she can't really put it into perspective and she couldn't explain it, but she's already thinking that, well, white is better. And I don't think she really identifies herself as being black yet. She really don't have no concept of that yet. But she don't have no concept that she's too young. But she does show signs of throwing the thumbs up for white and and frowning upon black. However, she's hella crazy about her dad, and he's darker than me. He's blacker than me in terms of physiology. I don't think she ever thought about that. She can't think about that. I have one of my best friends. I've got 3 best friends. These are childhood buddies that I grew up with. Been knowing each other before we were teenagers. And one of them, his name is Vincent. Matter of fact, I named one of my sons after him. And me and him and I were around the same age. And his father's a black, but actually both his parents are black, but his mother's mixed with something. You can tell she has black in her, but she looks more of something else, like maybe Indian or something, white or Indian or something. Very pretty lady, Mrs. Brown. Very sweet lady. She always treated me nice. She's a very nice and sweet lady. Very pleasant, respectable lady. She's a good example as far as being a woman and how a woman should carry herself. She was never ratchet. She was never disrespectful. Always respected herself. Always respected others. And Mrs. Brown was mixed with something real pretty. Had long, pretty hair. Very light-skinned. However, none of her children were light-skinned. They were brown-skinned. So it was obvious. And Vincent, my friend, he's got like real pretty hair from his mother, because he's mixed with something. But hold on, let me find something. One day, I happened to ask Vincent, just out of curiosity. I had never asked him before, but I had asked him. I said, I asked him, what was his mother mixed with? Now, who don't remember this? Woo! The Jackson's Baby. Shake your body down to the ground. I don't know what's gonna happen to you, baby, but I do know that I love you. Walk around this town with your head on up your mask, and I do know that I want you. Let's do things. Let's shazam. She shake your body down to the ground. Hey, remember when that came on? Remember the back in the day? No matter what party you went to, no matter what set you went to, when this came on, everybody jumped up and got on the dance floor. Hey, yeah. And then they started tease me with your love. But anyway, I had asked him what was his mother mixed with. And he said, what do you mean? He asked me, what did I mean by that question? And And I said, what you mean, what do I mean, man? What is your mother mixed with? He said, she's not mixed with nothing. I said, what you mean she ain't mixed with nothing? Have you ever took a good look at your mother, man? He said, my mother is black. I said, I know she's black. So then I asked him, I said, you don't know that your mother is mixed, man? He was like, I don't know if she's mixed. I don't know what she's mixed with. I said, you never asked your mother about her past, about her mother, her father, where your grandparents are from, who they were? And he couldn't answer that question. So that was the first time that I realized that I guess that didn't seem to ever occur to Vincent. Seems to have never occurred to him that he was mixed with something, or that his mother was mixed. And I thought that was quite interesting. Man lived through his whole life not realizing that his mother was mixed. Not that it made a big difference or anything, but I just thought it was interesting. I mean, we all love our mothers regardless of what the circumstances are, right? I ain't gonna say regardless of what the but as far as, race-wise, who cares about that? All mothers, generally speaking, all mothers love their kids. And all mothers are number one, generally. I mean, here it is, him, his brothers, they got like hair like Puerto Ricans and real pretty skin complexion, pretty eyes. And my friend coincidentally had a twin sister. Sister was beautiful. Won't you? I don't know what she looks like now, but back in the day, she was beautiful. All our friends wanted her. Had a big old booty. She was thick. Shake it over. Yeah. Take him over. Woo. We'll look to see if I got any company. Let's dance, let's shine. Shake your body down to the ground, let's dance. Let's shine. On to the ground. Let's shine. Let's dance and shine. Shake it to the ground. Down, 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 down. Take it over. So I just thought that was kind of peculiar and strange and kind of funny that my friend didn't realize he was mixed. And I asked him, did it ever occur to you, man, when we was kids, why you would get picked on like you did when we were kids? Why guys, like when we were in school, because we went to grade school together. We met in like 6th grade. And I asked him, did it ever occur to him why he would like get singled out and picked on by a lot of the, other students in our class around the school? Because he had a different look. And oftentimes when a child have a different look, they tend to get singled out. I heard the DeBarge, some of the DeBarge brothers speaking on that on a documentary one time. They were talking about that because the DeBarges are mixed with black and white. Very beautiful people, as far as looks anyway. Beautiful looking people. Pretty skin complexion, pretty hair and stuff. Hey. Hey. What'd you say? What? Say what? What'd you say? Do it now. Do it now. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? And they were talking about, like, during their school years, how they would get singled out, you know, picked on and stuff because they look different. Love's gonna last. You know what? We're gonna switch it up and put on something a little different this time. For you older cats, I got something for you. On the next tune I'm gonna play, I know exactly what I'm gonna play next. You younger people may not be feeling this next tune that I'm gonna throw on, but for those of you that are my age or older, you're gonna feel it. You can't help but to feel it. I ain't gonna even tell you. I'm gonna let it be a surprise. I ain't even gonna tell you what I'm gonna play next. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it. And you may have heard this before, you may have not. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But you're gonna feel it. Let me see if I can find it. I'll try to find it. Oh, I found it, y'all. Check this out. Remember this? That's the wrong version. That ain't really quite the right version either. Let's go back to the other version. Boom, boom, y'all.
Boom, 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 boom.
Hey,
Wanna shoot you right down.
right on your feet. Take you home with me. Take you to my house. Boom, 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 boom. That's not really the version that I was expecting. Up and down the floor.
You talking to me?
It's my mama's music right there.
That baby talk.
309-679-0487.
Like that. You talk like that. You knock me dead. Right on my feet. How?
There's actually an original version to that. It's the same man singing, but me, I tend to like the original versions of songs. I like the original ones better. This is like a different version. It's sung by the same artist, but I can tell that it's a different version. Yeah. I got another classic coming up next too. 309-679-0487, and the topic is mixed, but are you black? But back to what I was talking about. Yeah, so that family, the DeBarge, during their documentary, they was talking about how they was singing about, because they look so different. They look different, had a different look. And anytime you look different, you're open to being singled out and kind of picked on, even bullied on. My friend Vincent was bullied on oftentimes and made fun of. Actually, I was one of, when I first met him, I was one of the ones that used to make fun of him. But now that I'm older, it's very obvious to me, and I have come to realize that I was just jealous. The man had a head of beautiful hair, y'all. It was just out of jealousy because wherever we went, he would get all the attention. No matter how much I tried to look good, no matter how much I tried to get attention from the girls, all he would have to do is just be there. His looks alone took all the attention. I mean, the girls would want to, like, first thing come out of their mouths, ooh, can I feel your hair? They take their hands and run their fingers through his hair. So I was probably jealous, more likely, you know. Jealous because nobody ever once wanted to run their fingers through my hair. Because they didn't want their fingers get cut up, you know, like I had razor blades in my hair. They don't want to get their hand cut. Take their hand and run it through my hair. And then when they bring it out, they got blood dripping all down their wrist. Blood spilling off the back of their hands and shit. So I'll be standing there. I am not an animal. I am a man. How come no one wants to rub their fingers through my hair? You ever heard of Bobby Blue Bland? Bobby Blue Bland, y'all. I pity the fool.
I say I pity the fool. Well, I pity the fool.
But as you get older, you realize that physical characteristics are important, but that's not what makes the person. So as I got older, I wound up becoming fly anyway, pretty hair or not. I mean, if nothing else, you can always cut your hair down low and wear a short hairstyle, right? And that's what. But at one point, I did want to have long hair like my friend Vincent. His hair, he didn't have to work at having long hair. His hair just grew long naturally. And it grew into place and it grew beautifully. He had a beautiful head of hair. Had like these big, beautiful, curly locks of hair that women used to like to play in, that the girls used to like to play in. So at one point I called myself trying to get hair like his. It never did happen, y'all. It never took place. It never quite succeeded. I used to stand in the mirror and ask my hair, hey, why can't you be more like Vincent's hair? You want to curl up some or try to curl up or maybe even try to give an effort at looking pretty? My hair was like, nope, ain't gonna do it. Nope, can't do it. No, ain't gonna do it. Nope. I wasn't born pretty. I'm not gonna start trying to be pretty now. Can't be what I'm not. Can't be what I'm not. So I got mad at my hair and chopped it all off and just eventually started wearing it low. And then I noticed when I wore the short hairstyles, when I would wear my hair low, I actually got more attention. I would have cut it off earlier if I had realized that. I didn't know shit. I didn't know that when I cut my hair short that I was gonna start getting more play from the girls. How was I to know that shit? I'm gonna rock with some blues. It's Muddy Waters, y'all. Muddy Waters, I Want to Be Loved.
The spark in your eyes sets my soul on fire. Your voice is like an angel above. The touch of your hand, woman, drives me insane.
Y'all should see my grandson.
I want to be loved.
He's a beautiful kid. He's beautiful inside and out. He got a little great personality also, happy little boy. He just wants to have fun. He's mannerable, he's sweet, he's cute.
I want to be loved.
And he likes a lot of attention. I have other grandkids too, but unfortunately I'm not in their lives because they live in Chicago. I live here and they live in Chicago. So they're not around me. They don't know me like that. And by the way, I also have a son that I basically have from a one-night stand, basically. Me and his mother, we never had a real relationship. It was just a sex thing. And she wound up getting pregnant. And he's mixed. I have a mixed son that I do not have a relationship with. And I often wonder how was he raised? I wonder if he's... I know he's physically mixed with black. His mother is mixed with something. To this day, I do not know what his mother is mixed with. I don't know what that woman is. I just know she was beautiful. She was pretty. She was pretty. As far as her race, I don't know what the hell she was. I'm suspecting that she looked like Bolivian or Colombian or something. You know, like one of them Cubans.
I want to be loved.
And like the last time I seen him,
That's it. That's it.
and he was a beautiful looking kid too. So I'm just wondering if he definitely wasn't raised by my side of the family, or in contact with my side of the family. So I'm just wondering, like, what is his character like? What does he identify with more? Because if he doesn't talk, act, or have characteristics of a black person, and I were to meet him, I really don't know nothing about her family or how they act or anything like that. Now his mother, in my opinion, you can tell that in the earlier part of her life she was raised by some non-black people, but she may even have black in her. But she definitely wasn't white. So I don't know how he was raised. He should be around 22, maybe 23 now. And I'm very curious to see how this man, if he's even still alive. He may not even be alive as far as I know. But it would be a beautiful thing for him to meet me and meet his other brothers and sisters. He's got a lot of brothers and sisters. He may not be even aware of them at all. Maybe go through his whole life not knowing he has brothers and sisters. And the father, I'm not even sure if he's aware of me. I have no idea. Haven't seen him since he was in Pampers. His name is Laquan. If there's anybody out there that knows a Laquan that looks mixed, let me know. Let me know so that he can meet his daddy. Hey, bartender by Coco Taylor. Bars of beer. Anybody like Otis Redding? When the last time you heard this? Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes,
Watching the ships roll in.
watching the ships roll in.
It's 309-679-0487.
Watch 'em roll away again, yeah. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay,
So
watching the tide roll
was the trivia, not the trivia, but the topic of the night. Mixed, but are you black? Do you know anybody like that? You know anybody that is clearly and obviously black, but because they're mixed, they don't want to say that they're black. They don't want to think of themselves as black. You know anybody like that? And how do you feel about that? Are you yourself a person that's obviously black, but you don't want to accept it? You think you're something else?
Sitting on a darker base, wasting time.
If so, give us a call. Let us know what's your thoughts on the matter. If you care to, at 309-679-0487. I can't do what two people tell me to do, so I guess I remain the same. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Stop it, boy, stop it.
2,000 miles I roam just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of a bay, watching the tide roll away.
But I kind of often wonder what life must have been like, nowadays in this day and age. It's a common thing to see a lot of interracial people mixed with different races and things. But I'd like to talk to some older people like that were coming of age like during the 1940s, 1950s. And I often wonder what life was like for individuals like that. Like the average back in those days, because as long as since the slavery days, there's always been mixed people. So I'm just wondering, what was life for them like? What did the majority of them identify with? Did most of them try to pass for being something that they wasn't, pass for white, even though they were raised black, look mixed? I would imagine that mixed people probably had it easier in life, because we live in a society where people think you're better or you're treated better if you look lighter.
Give me one reason to stay here,
and I'll turn right back. That's Tracy Chapman, y'all. Give me one reason.
Give me one reason to stay here.
Call in numbers 309-679-0487.
Said I don't wanna leave you lonely.
You gotta make me change my mind.
Baby, I got your number. Oh, and I know that you got mine.
Give me a minute, I'm looking up something.
You know that I called you many times. You can call me, baby. You can call me anytime. You got to call me.
My mother, my grandmother, my mother's mother.
And I'll turn right back around.
She's my grandmother. She's deceased now, of course. As old as myself is. I've seen pictures of my great grandfather, my grandmother's father, and this man. Looking at the pictures, you could not tell that he was a black man. He looked completely white. I mean, he looked just like a white man. My grandmother was mixed with something white. She was mixed with white. She was a light-skinned woman. She had soft, pretty hair. My grandmother had freckles.
someone to hold me. Oh, and rock me through the night.
I've never seen pictures of my grandmother as a woman in her 20s or teenager pictures, but I'm suspected that my grandmother was very pretty when she was a teenager. As a matter of fact, she has a son that has, my uncle, he's deceased now. His name was Fred, my mother's brother. And
The youthful heart can love you, yes, and give you what you need.
And Fred, upon looking at him, I used to wonder, kind of wonder why Fred looked so odd, and that he looked like, you know, had a Mexican look to him, or Puerto Rican looking or something. He looked very Spanish.
Wasting my precious energy.
Then I found out later that my grandmother, she told me, I remember her saying that she had got raped as a kid and wound up getting pregnant. So I don't know exactly how life went, but she was raised in the South, and I would imagine by her being mixed and being pretty that she was a victim of probably rape several times, probably more likely more than once, without no real protection, you know. Black people have never really had any real protection in this country. But when she was, I think she got pregnant at like, what, 12, 13 or something. She got, as a result of being raped by some man that was not black. Because the child that she had from that did not look like a black person. And my mother, that my grandmother being mixed with white, my mother is not light skinned, she's brown skinned, but she has real pretty hair. And because my father was not mixed with anything, none of my mother's prettiness rubbed off on me. No, I was not born with my mother's pretty hair. As a matter of fact, I think they told me when I was an infant that my head just looked like a bunch of curly shaped razor blades. No, I'm just joking. Got to give it up. So those physical characteristics did not really pass down to me. I like that. So I missed all of that. My father,
Hurry up.
my father had some strong genes, y'all. That African gene is strong.
I'm on my way.
Let's roll with a little R. Kelly, Feeling on Your Booty. Call in number 309-679-0487.
Pretty mama, how you doing? Said I'm just in town for the weekend. Looking for a little trouble to get into. Baby, tell me what you're drinking and I got you. Ooh, just wanna play. Ballers wanna ball. Ballers wanna go. I'm taking off after I say
Let's bring back some memories for some people, lady. By the way, how did R. Kelly's album do? Did it do well, y'all? I know he came out. I think he had His new album, what is it called? Black Panties, I believe. R. Kelly is very popular. Big record seller. I would imagine that the album did good. I don't keep up with the new entertainment these days. So I don't know what's going on in the entertainment world as far as record sales and things. Some of the artists are so big that you can't help but to get wind of the success in their career, like Beyonce, for example. Now, what do y'all think about that new thing that happened with Beyonce's sister and Jay-Z, with her attacking him on the elevator? I got some clips that I'm gonna play from that. Coming up, not today, but later, play some clips from Tariq Nasheed concerning that fiasco. I'm in agreement with Tariq Nasheed when he says that she should have known better and she should not behave like that, especially in the position that they are in.
Wanna ball, feel so good, say it again. Just wanna play, but I'm taking off after I dance. Oh yeah, just making me feel thugged out.
Yeah. So what must life be like for a person that's black but don't look black? I often think about that at times. Not that it's so important in life, but just something to think about. And how sad is that to be a black person, but you're trying to dodge the label. But what happened in your life to make you want to avoid acknowledging that you're a black person? And considering the fact that I have not been getting any calls, I will be bringing the show to a close shortly. Because as you know, for the show to keep going nice and strong, I need to have somebody to bounce our ideas off of. Any show works better when you have people participating in the program, people participating in the broadcast. I'm working on doing more advertising to get the name of the show out there more so that I can get more attention. But right now, as it stands, I'm not really getting much attention. So it's up to me. I'm not mad about it or anything like that. It's just up to me to figure out what I'm doing wrong and what I'm not doing right. But I will figure it out. Life is full of problems, but we'll never have no problem too big that we can't handle. So I just had to tell my daughter recently, I noticed that she was going through some depression, relationship problems, money problems. She was doing well for a minute because she had got a little decent job. She was making her own money, making some money. Then for some reason the employment kind of fell off some, and I think it made her depressed. So now I'm in the process of helping her to keep her spirits up, helping her to hang in there, helping her to realize that that's the way life goes. I don't want her to get too depressed where she kind of gives up or fall into some type of slump. because I was real proud of her, and I'm still proud of her. I actually helped her get a vehicle so that she could have proper transportation to and from work, proper transportation and doing things with her children. And the vehicle will help our family when we do things, when we get together. She'll be able to pick people up, people like me, myself, and help me out with mobility. When we get together and have things, she's able to shake your pants. I like the way you dance. Shake your pants for action and romance. She'll be able to transport, the food, supplies, equipment, things like that. Or if we decide to do something, we have transportation. See, and that's why I have the right sometimes to lecture and I have the right to complain, because I am in the habit of helping and assisting. Because naturally, when you're in a family, you're a family member. If you're not the type of person that assists or helps when you can help, you have the ability to help. And it doesn't even have to be this song here, y'all. This who is this? The OJs. She used to be my girl, the OJs. Ask me how I know. But if you have the ability to assist and help, and you don't, and assisting and helping family members and loved ones doesn't always have to come in the form of monetary. You can take the time out just to share knowledge with them. You can be inspiring to a family member. Help them to hang in there. A lot of times it makes a difference in a person's lives when words go into their ears. Words are powerful. Words can make a difference. You change a person's life with words. The Minister Farrakhan changed my life with words by listening to that man. So I know that words are powerful. You can't beat her cooking. Ask me how I know, and I'll tell you so. So don't be thinking that you can complain, badmouth people, talk SHIT. If you have never done anything to try to assist the person or add nothing positive to their lives, add nothing positive to the situation, to their situations. So that's why when I get on my kids about things, I can do it with a clear conscience. Because I sincerely feel that I did the best I could through the years in helping them. And I guess a parent's job is never done, because I just parted with my money on helping to get her a vehicle. So, and I also have a mother that's still alive, and she's always offering to assist me and help me. So I guess it's true what they say, that parents' job is never done. But if I live long enough, I'm not going to be spending all my money on my grandkids. So the mamas and daddies better get themselves together so they can do it. I done spent enough money. And gave enough, y'all. What is this?
DJBays.com.
Y'all ain't in no mood for no hot mixes. Now, who in the mood for hot mixes? Who in the mood for no hot mixes? Who's watching? Tell me who's watching. Who's watching me? So I think it's around that time we're going to bring the show to a close soon, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody called in attempting to answer the trivia of the day. So I'm forced to just give up the answer anyway. Hey, hell, I paid the price. All I want is to be left alone in my average home. But why do I always feel like I'm in the twilight zone and somebody's watching me? And the trivia, y'all, was the Civil Rights Act was signed into law by what president? And the answer to that trivia question is Lyndon B. Johnson, for those of you that did not know. Now, if you had called up and gave me the answer to that trivia, you'd have the opportunity to win absolutely nothing. But you'd have been secure in knowing that everybody knows that you're smart. Just a little touched, but maybe showers remind me of Psycho too much. That's why I always feel like somebody's watching me. Was that true for Michael Jackson, y'all? You know, this this song is made by Rockwell, and I believe that was one of Diana Ross's sons. Michael probably did him a favor and added his vocals onto his track so he could make some money. Michael Jackson probably liked that song because can you imagine how he was always watched along with all the other celebrities, big celebrities. When I was younger, I used to want to have his life so bad. I used to want to have Michael Jackson's life so bad. Till I grew up and realized when I saw all the stuff that he was going through, I changed my mind. Changed my mind on that, y'all. I'm like, I'm good. No, thank you. Don't want to go through that. Somebody's watching me. I always feel like somebody's watching me. That song always come to mind when I go out with my family members and we go to restaurants. People at other tables are staring over there at us. Because, you know, a lot of times we have the grandkids with us and a few of them look mixed, and then we got white people at the table with us, mixed people at the table. White people like to stare at you. Sometimes I'll start singing it kind of out loud to let them know that I know that you're staring at us. Somebody's watching me, because they will stare at you. So I always feel like somebody's watching me. Somebody's watching me. And so since nobody's watching me tonight on the show, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and drop this tune on you. And when you hear that song, you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. We all know what that means. That means that we had a good time. I know I did. It's been good. It's been fun. As always. Because I like doing this. It's fun for me. Even though we didn't get any calls tonight. But I'm looking forward to getting calls in the future, y'all. It will happen. Believe me when I tell you. It will happen because I'm going to make it happen. Just got to figure out everything I need to do. Gonna do the damn thing, y'all. Matter of fact, it's gonna be a chilly weekend, so I'll stay in the house and work on my craft. I'll work on my show, coming up with ideas and working on some ideas that I have to make the show more interesting. I also need to add more music to my cachet of songs.
Remember how we made our plans. We used to dream.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want everybody to have a nice weekend. Try not to get into any fights, into any arguments. Act civilized. Be good to yourself. Be good to other people. And remember to treat others the way that you would like to be treated. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
But we do have white supremacists. That's what I mean by white supremacists. A lot of people in other cities, they see this female and they think she's all exotic and fly. Niggas can get women like that on Melrose at any given moment, and supremacists and suspected white supremacists. Things back to the did you not hear that, man? Ones who are white supremacists are very dangerous, and they affect our lives adversely. There, sometimes they end up biting you in the ass too. So you got to be very careful when you practice your white supremacy. That's why you should eliminate white supremacist public policies and just have a system of justice. Because these things always get you and bite you in the ass too. So I'm not trying to hear that it was a private conversation matter, because y'all get us on private issues all the time and who we associate with, like Deshaun Jackson. Of course, if you grew up in South Central, yeah, you're going to know a gang member or two. That's a given. You're going to know somebody who's in a damn gang. You shouldn't be punished based on who you know privately. So zero fucks are giving about that whole conversation as far as Donald Sterling. He got what was rightfully deserved. Because this guy was a well-known white supremacist. He was very discriminatory in his practices. And a lot of people are now looking at the wife. I saw an article on Yahoo talking about, the poor wife. The poor wife who's caught up in the middle of this. Donald Sterling's wife. Let me tell you something. I suspect her of being just as much as a white supremacist as Donald Sterling. I suspect her of being just as much of a white supremacist as Donald Sterling. The female white supremacist, or the female suspected white supremacist, they've gotten a pass in our society. And you have to understand how white supremacy works. White supremacy depends on the female white supremacist. See, that's the good cop and the bad cop phenomenon. Because what happens is that a lot of times the female white supremacists are sent into black areas first to feel things out. They're sent in as the missionaries. They're sent in to kind of feel people out. They go in there like the savior to get intel. And then they feed things back to the male white supremacists, and then they work with each other to suppress black people. Am I talking about all? Absolutely not. All white people are not white supremacists. There are a lot of cool white people out there who are definitely fair and just. I know many myself. I know for a fact that all white people are not white supremacists. But the ones who are white supremacists are very dangerous. And they affect our lives adversely. And we have to know who they are, and we have to be very cognizant of that game. Because the female suspected white supremacist That's the sneaky one. That's the person who's teaching your kids at school. That's the person who's on the Trayvon Martin jury or the Jordan Davis jury. You dig? And with the female white supremacists or the suspected female white supremacists, just because they're not being mean does not mean that they're not practicing white supremacy. Just because they're laying up with you does not mean that they're not practicing white supremacy. Just because they're giving you things and being nice and donating things to you, you think, oh, she's a cool one. That person can still be practicing white supremacy. So we got to be very aware of that. So we're going to get into this debate I had with this female. Her name is Louise. Her name is Louise. I was on Ustream doing my live Ustream show, and she happened to call up. And she was somewhat sympathetic to Donald Sterling to a certain degree, because I was talking like I was talking now. She got a little offended, and that's why she called up. So you're going to hear the interview, and I'm going to play the whole thing in its entirety, and then I will chime in a little bit more after this debate. So here it is right here. The debate between me and a suspected female white supremacist. Okay, now, what is your... Go ahead. Now, what's your name?
You're waiting for Monday. You're just talk.
No,
I just wanted to say that I'm white, and I've been listening to your program.
Now, what's your name? Wait. What's your name, ma'am?
Louise.
Louise, where are you calling from?
Michigan.
Okay, so what's on your mind? Now, are you Bunchy? Are you Bunchy?
No.
Okay, so what's on your mind? You sound upset.
I'm a white woman. How can I be him?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, Louise. Then what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is you sadden me. I feel like you're part of the problem.
How so?
Well, you're talking about, you're calling black people coons. You're talking about white people always being negative about black people.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. As a matter of fact, I said that all white people are not racist. I've said that repeatedly. Did you not hear that, ma'am?
You may say that, but it's not in how you express yourself.
I expressed myself very clearly. I didn't say that all white people are mean. And I specify the type of white people that I talk about, which are the white supremacists. I never paint everybody with a broad brush. I'm very specific about the people I talk about.
You know, I just feel that you really totally... It's very frustrating as a white person who, you know, like you say that we say, I have a white friend, or I date a black man. And then we say, I don't see color. When you love all people, you don't see color. Right. You don't see black. You don't see white. You don't see Chinese. You just love people. You're a human being.
You do see a color. When you see somebody, you see what they are. You can tell a person is Chinese, black, or white. You only see that. You don't see color when it comes to black people. You never hear that when it comes to anybody else but black people. When y'all talk about that black friend, all of a sudden I don't see color. But you see the color, you see what everybody else looks like, and you have no problem acknowledging that. No, it's not hogwash, ma'am. It's not hogwash.
There's your problem. You cannot accept that people can truly just love people.
Of course they can. I never said that. So what are you talking about?
Just what I said to you.
Now, wait, what you're doing now, wait. What you're doing now, you're making up an argument and you're getting upset with your own argument, ma'am. So I want you to deal with my words. I never said you can't love nobody. I never said any of that. So what you're going to have to do is really direct what I said and tell me what you feel about what I said, not what you're interpreting what I said. Because now you're filtering it and interpreting what I'm saying the way you want to interpret it. I never said anything about you can't love somebody. I never said any of that. And I'm not going to defend on myself on something that's going on in your imagination that I didn't say. What problem do you have with what I said? Louise, I'm here, Louise. What problem do you have with what I said? Not your interpretation, ma'am. What I said. What problem do you have?
You're talking about white supremacists.
Right. Which is, do you believe white supremacy exists?
Oh, of course I do.
All right.
It's disgusting.
Absolutely. So what's the problem you have with that? With me talking about that? What's the problem you have with that, ma'am?
It's the things that you talk about that you're I don't know how to explain it to you, but you're extraordinarily how do I say this? I want to use words that like you're hateful. You're out to no feet.
Hateful to who?
You know, it's like reverse discrimination.
Oh Lord. Really? Ma'am, wait, ma'am. Oh, reverse discrimination?
Yeah.
So are you saying that I'm practicing reverse discrimination?
White people can't use negative derogatory words towards black people. But black people can towards white people.
Ma'am, are you trying to say there's something called black supremacy? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm trying to say that black people are just as negative about white people as white people are about black people.
But you still get the loan. You still get the job. Your schools don't get gentrified, ma'am. Black so-called racism or black supremacy is only relegated to name-calling, ma'am. So please let's not make black name-calling comparative to systematic white racism that has existed in this country for hundreds of years.
You know, where you're so wrong.
Please correct me, ma'am.
I'm white. I don't get the job. You know what I had to do? I had to create my job. I had to open up a store because I couldn't get hired. I'm a white woman.
Ma'am, just because you didn't get it don't mean that it's not there. Ma'am, just because you didn't get it doesn't mean it's not there for you. Just because you didn't get it doesn't mean it's not there for you. There is not one black person that can prevent you from getting a job anywhere, ma'am. Let's be very realistic.
No, stop. Time out. I didn't say that there was a black person that's stopping me from getting a job.
But when you say there's comparative racism coming from black people, that is what you're saying. There is no comparative racism coming from black people that's equal to white supremacy. Are you trying to say that, ma'am? Because like I said, black racism is just calling names, which isn't racism at all. That's just bigotry.
You know, I'm just going to have to say this, is that you keep twisting what I'm trying to say to you. And that's
Louise, I'm listening to you. Louise, your voice is live on my show. I'm not twisting anything you're saying. Louise, you can say anything you want to say. But the thing is, I don't want you to say I said something that I didn't say. You said, you think people shouldn't love each other because that's where I have to stop you. Because you can't just make up something I said to argue with that. I just want you to deal with what I say. Go ahead.
You're saying, I mean, you're talking about black women who are with white men, and you're calling them, I mean, as if the white men that they're with are their masters.
Ma'am, have you heard Donald Sterling's tape, ma'am?
Yes, I did.
That sounds like a scene from Django, okay? It sounds like a scene from a slave movie. It's 2014, and you have black women who are dating white men, not in all cases, but you're dating a white dude who's talking to you like a slave wench in 2014. That's a problem, ma'am.
I'm just going to say, this is what I'm going to say about this gentleman. Okay? And this is just what I'm going to say.
What's really, because what you're trying to do, ma'am, you're trying to filter a lot of what you're saying. Just say what's in your mind.
Ma'am. He said it was his culture.
Right.
He tried to explain to the woman that he was raised in a different society. Instead of completely crucifying the man, I'm not saying that he's right in everything that he said. But let's give the man some sort of kudos that he has tried to change. He was raised in a totally different lifestyle than you and I were raised in.
Louise. This is the problem with white supremacy right here, Louise. People, unfortunately, like yourself, ma'am, you give blatant white supremacy a pass. You try to make excuses for blatant white supremacy. You're trying to make excuses for Donald Sterling, ma'am. What he said was inexcusable.
No, I'm not.
Ma'am, you're saying we should give him kudos. We should give him kudos for trying to.
You gotta admit he was set up by her. Number one.
Yes.
Number two.
And yes, does that negate the validity of what he was saying? Of course he was set up. He said those words though, ma'am.
Of course he did. He did say those words, but come on, you're in. I just don't see him as. I guess maybe. How do I say this? I don't see him as a slave master.
You don't?
I see him as a man that fell in love with a woman, sincerely fell in love with her.
Ma'am, did you not hear him say, I give my blacks cars, I give them homes, they should be happy. I give them a place to live. That's what slave masters would say. So are you trying to say, ma'am, Louise, are you trying to say that you really don't believe that Donald Sterling is a white supremacist?
I don't know enough about Mr. Sterling to be able to say that.
You heard his words.
I didn't hear that.
You heard.
I heard you say that. I didn't hear that in the tape.
Well, that's what white supremacy is. When you are saying that you are better than a race of people based on you being white, that's what makes you a white supremacist, man.
Did he say those exact words, or are you putting words in his mouth?
Let me tell you exactly what he said. She asked him, are white Jews better than black Jews? His answer, ma'am, was yes, 100% they are. Those are his words. So this is not even a question. He said it out of his, not just him saying it, ma'am. He practices white supremacy. Because, see, this goes beyond just him saying words. There was a case for Donald Sterling years ago where he had a housing discrimination case where it was known that he discriminated against black tenants. And he had to make a payout, a federal payout for housing discrimination. So this man has a track record of discriminatory white supremacist practices, not just name calling, but practices where he has disenfranchised the lives of black people. Do you see that as a problem, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
All right. That's all we're trying to say. So what problem do you have with me for pointing that out, ma'am?
It's not that you're pointing out possibly facts. It's the way that you say it.
Oh, really? Okay. So what don't you like about the way I'm saying it?
I just feel as if you're awfully negative against white people, that you don't see that there are good white people,
Ma'am,
that there
I
are
never
good
said
black
that.
people, there are Chinese people.
Ma'am, I do business with white people. I'm not negative. I never said anything negative about white people in general. I've said over and over, all white people are not racist, ma'am. I've been pointing out the white supremacists. Whenever I have a problem with a white person, I point out a white supremacist. That's the only type of white person I have a problem with. Any white person who actively practices white supremacy. I should have a problem with that, ma'am. Because white supremacy affects my life and the lives of other black people. White supremacy is very unjust. That's a system of injustice. So I can't talk nice about a system of injustice. Would you talk nice and say things in a nice way about a system of injustice?
No, and maybe I should listen to your program more often.
Right.
What?
Louise, who is that in the back? Your husband or your son?
My boyfriend, who is black, who is wants me to tell you that he's posting on Coley.
You got a black boy. I'm done. You got a black boyfriend. Oh, God. Oh.
Excuse me, and what is so funny about that? I was married for 25 years to a black man.
Oh, God.
I had a child with him whom we lost to cancer.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I don't want, that's not cool. But your boyfriend...
Why does that seem funny to you?
How does your boyfriend feel about what I'm saying?
James, you want
He did what? James. So you got a black boyfriend. I'm thinking that, okay. And I've always said this, because I don't want to say that you're a suspected white supremacist, but the fact that you will coddle certain white supremacists is very suspect, man. That's very suspect, the fact that you would try to protect...
There's a problem, the twisting.
No, those are your words, man. Your words, you were like, well, we got to give kudos to Donald Sterling.
That people can love people for just who they are and what they are.
You can. I never said that.
Therefore, I have to now be suspect.
Because you're protecting and you're trying to speak up and make excuses for a blatant white supremacist. So
no, I'm not making... I told you that I disagreed with white supremacy.
But you were kind of agreeing with Donald Sterling. You said, well, he was set up. You said he was... Your words. He was set up. We got to give him kudos. Those are your words.
Say that. He comes from I'm not saying that he's right. There's a fine line. But I'm saying that he comes from unfortunately, you and I know this, he comes from a different culture. He comes from a different era. I'm not saying it's the right way. I'm just saying that it has affected him. And I feel like, not that he's right, but I feel like he has changed.
Ma'am, are you trying to blame his blatant white supremacist mindset on him being old? Are you using that, well, he's old, so he gets a white supremacist pass? Is that the excuse you're trying to use?
Well, I was listening to a black comedian just today, and he was making jokes about older black men that really hate white people. And the whole black crowd was laughing at it. And how when to their faces, they're very kind, and they're to white faces, and then when they walk away, they start, I'm not going to use the words that he was using, but that they're cursing, and I was laughing at it too.
But look, but you're doing another. That's what white supremacists do, Louise. They'll listen to one comedy routine. You'll see one black person, and that's supposed to represent the whole black community. Just because a comedian says that, y'all do that. Y'all base all your views on black folks based on what one or two people say about black folks. Why are you bringing up what a comedian says? What does that have to do with the whole black community?
Because he was pointing out exactly what I'm pointing out to you. If you run into an elderly black man, he just used it as a joke.
Because most old black people don't hate white people. That's a lie, by the way. Most elderly white people are still kissing white people's asses to this day. They don't hate no white people. Let's be very realistic. And even if they did, they can't do anything to affect their lives. So let's just be realistic. That's a moot point anyway. They can't affect the lives of any kind of white person. But Donald can't afford. I don't care how old he is. He's affecting the lives of people now. All right? I don't give a damn how old he is. He's just been practicing white supremacy longer than some of the younger white supremacists. He don't get a pass for being old. And that's another cop-out. And that's the problem. People keep making excuses for white supremacy. It's unjust. I don't give a damn if you practice it back in the day. You wouldn't give an old Nazi a pass. You wouldn't say, oh, he was just a Nazi. You got to understand, they came from Germany back in the 1940s. That's just how they were. They still put those Nazis on trial. They put those Nazis on trial now. If they find one that's 110 years old, his ass is going to trial. They're not giving Nazis a pass. So you try to give white supremacists a pass, and that's a problem right there.
Okay, no, I'm not. And number one, what I'm trying to say is hatred on the black side for the older culture and hatred on the white side is just as offensive, but it's on both sides.
We ain't talking about who's offending anybody. You're just talking about name calling and offensiveness. We're talking about a system. You keep trying to compare a system of white supremacy to name calling, which is nothing. Being offended, being uncomfortable. It's not the same, Louise. Do you understand that?
Do you truly believe that, and I'm just asking this in sincerity, do you truly believe that all the white people are against black people? Because that's the way you sound.
No, you keep saying the way I sound and the way you're insinuating I'm saying. I have not said one word about all white people hating black people. I've said nothing close to that. But you keep filtering that through your mind in order to justify.
Okay, I'm talking about why are you calling it a white?
I never said that all white people are racist. They're not. I know they're not. All white people are not racist. You keep saying that. It's not going to make it true. I have not said that whatsoever. But white supremacy does exist. And white supremacy is a problem in this country, and it affects people's lives who are people of color like myself. Does that make sense?
Of course it does.
So why are you acting like I'm saying something else that's confusing? You're trying to be confused. I've been very specific about what I said, ma'am. I haven't said anything that's confusing, anything that could be left to insinuation. I've been very specific about what I'm saying. But you keep saying, well, you're just making it seem like nobody can love another person. No, ma'am. I'm very specific about what I'm saying. So what's
then I'm very specific about the fact of what I shared with you, and you started laughing, thinking that it was funny.
It was funny to find out you had a black boyfriend. That was funny, because I tell black people all the time, just because a person is having sex with you, don't think that they don't still have some white supremacist views. And it sounds like you have some suspected white supremacist views, Louise.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm righteous.
I know you're not.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't, but it has nothing to do with color. It has to do with how certain people live their lives.
I want black people to listen to you, and I want brothers to listen. People think that if I dick this white woman down, I'm going to really switch her over. You can have sex with white women until you're blue in the face, and they will still have a camaraderie with the dominant society and with some sectors of white supremacy. So this is a great lesson that black people need to learn. And it goes both ways. I talked about how just because a white dude is having sex with a black woman, that don't mean that he's not a white supremacist. And it goes both ways. Brothers get on this thing where white lady's laying up with you. You don't think she won't get up out that bed and practice white supremacy? You got another thing coming.
Now I'm a white supremacist.
I said you're suspected. You're not one. I don't know if you are for sure. I don't know you. You're suspected. You're a suspect white supremacist, ma'am, because I don't know for sure. So I got to put you in the suspect category, because the thing is, Louise, what do you do for a living, ma'am?
Because I couldn't get a job, I opened up a store.
There you go. And how did you open up that store? Where'd you get the money?
I didn't have money. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to sit here. I didn't have money.
Okay. It matters, but I feel you. It matters, Louise, but I feel you. You see? Because you don't want to turn it, you're not turning in that white supremacy card, because you know you can get goodies and you can get certain things with that white card. Not that, I don't know if you're white supremacist or not, ma'am. I'm not saying you're white supremacist or not. That's why I said suspect. But that white privilege card, you got that. And you know you got it. So this is why you can kind of protect certain people who have certain white supremacist views, because you know the value. Even if you don't have a job, you still got that privilege to hook up with somebody who can give you money to even start a business. See, that's white privilege. And it is what it is. This is why we have to dialogue about it. And we got to be very honest about racism and white supremacy and white privilege. We got to talk realistically about race. And my thing is this. I don't worry about people getting offended, because you're like, I don't like the way you're saying stuff. But I don't like white supremacy. White supremacy makes me uncomfortable. You being uncomfortable with the words, you'll get over it. I have black children. I don't want my black children having to go to school with a person who kind of thinks like you, Louise, or a person who's being taught, or a teacher. I don't want a teacher, Louise, I don't want a teacher who kind of has your views teaching my kids. Because you'll slip that bullshit slip that into the curriculum, man.
If I had listened to the white people, I never would have married my husband. If I had listened to the white people,
right.
I never would have told my child, because I was taken aside and told that my child, because she would be mulatto or he would be mulatto, wouldn't be accepted in society, and how cruel I would be if I had a child.
I know what they tell you. Trust me, I know the whole conversation your family had. I know, because you got some white supremacists in your family, and that's another thing. Because that's why you don't really want to point the finger at white supremacy, because then you're going to have to point it at mom and dad. And that's a hell of a thing to do. Because you know how mom and dad, know how they felt about you getting with that brother. You know some of the words they said.
They were not happy. But you know what? They did change. They were not happy. They tried to stop the marriage. I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't have the negative influence in my life that way. I did.
I know.
But you know, the whole point is that it was more important that the person that I was with was a worthy person, was a wonderful person, was an incredible man. He was intelligent. He was wonderful. He was a fantastic father.
Absolutely. I believe that.
That's the things that were important. It didn't matter what anybody said to me. It was who that person was.
Right. Right, but again, I get that. But the thing is, the reason why you almost sounded like you were making excuses for Donald Sterling. You were giving him the benefit of the doubt to a certain degree. And you know why you were doing that, Louise? Because Donald Sterling represents your dad. Your dad is Donald Sterling. He has he has the same views. You heard some of that same stuff in your household. And that's why you're not so quick to throw him under the bus, because that's like throwing your parents under the bus. And this is a dialogue that we have to talk about. Because if you are a person in the white society and you are not a white supremacist yourself, but then you're surrounded by white supremacists, what do you do? So that's a dialogue that we need to have in this country. We really got to have that dialogue. But this whole thing where black folks can't talk about it, I'm talking about it because that shit is unjust.
Time out. My father and my mother always had taught me, and hear what I'm just about to share.
I want to hear this. I want to hear this. I'm dying to hear this, Louise.
They taught me that I should not discriminate. They taught me to love all people. They taught me that. Then the difference. Now, let me finish. The difference was, I truly believe that. Thank God they raised me that way with an open mind. But here's the difference. When I took it to the point of dating someone and marrying someone, that's when, if you want to call it white supremacy,
exactly.
The lines changed.
Are your parents? Well, let me ask you this. Are your parents liberals? They're like Democrats.
They voted both ways.
Okay, so one voted.
It depended upon the candidate.
Okay, but you would consider them liberal for the most part. If they wanted you to have friends and they didn't care what you did and all that. Did you grow up have a liberal background?
I had a very calm father who definitely had a course of how he wanted his children to be raised and behave.
Right. But the thing is, that's how white supremacy works. See, people think that a white supremacist, you don't want anything to do with no black people and all. A white supremacist, they don't have a problem interacting with black people as long as the black person is in an inferior position. The minute you date or lay up with, now you're equal. The minute you move next door to a black person or they move next door to you, now it's equal. That's where the white supremacy comes in. Because we don't want that. And if you think like that, that makes you a white supremacist, ma'am.
then I would have to agree with you. If you want to use the term white supremacist, I don't like that terminology.
I know you. You know why you don't like it? You know why you don't like it? Because you know why you don't like it, Louise. Louise, stop. Louise, you got to stop talking, sister. You know why you don't like that term? Is that because the term, it's accusatory, and it puts the blame where the blame should be. Because the term racism, which I don't like to use, racism gives people an out. They can distance themselves from that. People play games with the word racism. People try to pretend that, well, racism is the Ku Klux Klan. I'm not that. Racism, well, black people are racist. Al Sharpton is racist. So people pretend that racism is just this formless entity that nobody knows what it is. But when you say exactly what racism is and the problem with racism, which is systematic white supremacy, now you're putting it somewhere. You're putting the racism right where it's supposed to be. Because that's the problem we have with racism, not because anybody's calling names. We have a problem with the systematic practice of white supremacy. That's the problem we have in this country.
No, I guess I would have to, I have to agree with you, because there was no one more shocked than myself when I brought before we were married, I brought him home and he asked my father for my hand in marriage, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there was nobody more shocked than myself because of the way that I was raised.
Right. Right.
And again, I thank God that my parents at least raised me that way. But yet I agree with you. You're right. It changed when their daughter was going to be with a black man.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you on that. And I saw that. And it disappointed me in my parents.
I can imagine.
I can't change that, but I fell in love with a fantastic person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, does your family, have they disowned you?
They did initially.
Right.
They did initially. Right. They told my then fiance that he would never be welcome at home.
Mm-hmm.
If I had children, they would never be welcome at home.
Mm-hmm.
And my then fiance sat at the table, and I have to give him absolutely all the credit in the world for his strength and his pride in knowing who and what he was as a man. He looked at my father and he said, "You can discriminate against me. You can keep me away from your home. The only thing I'm asking you is do not cut yourself off from your daughter. She loves you. She needs you. I can live without you."
Mm-hmm. So y'all patch things up with the family, yeah?
We just lived our lives.
Okay.
And then unfortunately, my daughter had a brain tumor, and my parents came to my husband and I and apologized and said that a child taught them how stupid they were as people. She had taught them about the real meaning of love, that they were so sorry for the way that they behaved, that this child had educated them more than anything because of her illness and how much they loved her as an individual, and they apologized for their behavior.
And this is why it's so very important. This country has never tackled the issue of white supremacy ever on a national level. And the sickness of it, where people have disowned their families, and this whole dynamic that's been going on for decade after decade after decade, that's never openly discussed on a national level. And it's a cancer that nobody wants to talk about. When we talk about race, it's always, well, the black folks are the problem, and Al Sharpton. It's all of this deflection. And there's suffering going on in these white homes with white supremacy. This shit is cancerous. It gives privileges and benefits on one end, but it eats you up on another end. And that's something that really has to be discussed in this country. And we got to be brave enough to talk about it and not sweeping that shit under the rug. And then when black people like me, who are not afraid, because I don't give a damn about nobody being offended, a lot of black people don't want to talk about it because they'll get the reaction that you gave. I'm offended by what you're saying, and you get a whole bunch of that. That scares black folks. I'm not scared of that because I can handle that. But we do need to talk about white supremacy, not just racism, specifically white supremacy, and get to the root of it so we can move on from it. If we're going to move on and stop pretending that we're post-racial, and then we have a Donald Sterling and a Cliven Bundy pop out shocking the world, which you shouldn't really be shocked. You feel me?
I understand. I do appreciate the fact that what he did was what he said. Maybe I am making excuses. I don't know. Okay. I don't feel that everything that he said was completely, totally wrong.
That's your dad. You're talking about Donald Sterling, right?
Yeah, because I don't know enough about the man to sit here and say. I'm not saying what
Louise. A person saying that black people are beneath white Jewish people, that's wrong, ma'am. There's no way to really filter that. That's wrong. What you heard on that tape of him saying, I don't want black people coming to my games, is that wrong or not?
That's disgusting.
Of course. I don't know why you I don't know if it's wrong. I mean, damn, it's pretty cut and dry. He didn't really beat around the bush. The views this man had were horrible. Him telling a woman if she can not be so black and act more like a white girl, that's horrible. That's not just this, that's horrible. There's no excuses for that. And when you try to make excuses or try to rationalize that, then people are going to look at you as being a suspected white supremacist, and then you say, well, why are you black people looking at us, all white people, as being racist? Because when you co-sign that, that's a bad look. See, black people, if a black person does something fucked up, hey, he's fucked up. He don't represent me. We'll be the first to say it. But when you have the Donald Sterlings of the world out here regurgitating all of this hateful venom, people in the dominant society, they have a tendency to kind of protect this guy. And that's a problem. And if you're going to protect dudes like that in any way, just be ready to be suspected of being a white supremacist yourself. You feel me?
How about just someone who can simply forgive and and just feel. I'm not saying I forgive him for his wrong. I don't know how to express what I want to express. That's okay.
That's okay. All right, but hey, I got to get some other calls, but thank you so much, Louise.
So anyway, that was the debate that I had with Louise, the female suspected white supremacist. And I hope you guys learned some very important, very valuable things here. As you saw and as you heard, not only can a person in the dominant society be nice to you, they can lay up with you and still practice systematic white supremacy and still think just like other white supremacists. And this is the trick that is played on black people. You think just because you laying up with somebody that they won't get up out of that bed and practice systematic white supremacy against you, and that's been a big con game. Black people have to understand suspected white supremacists come in all shapes and forms, and you better identify who you're dealing with and not let that affect you adversely. And always think in terms of empowering yourself. We still need to empower ourselves. Because even when this person is laying up with you, they got your balls in their hand and they stroking you off and doing whatever, they get up out of that bed and they practice group economics with their own society. They still know the importance of empowering their society, even after they done bust up in you and you bust up in them and you done spread them cheeks. They still know better to get up and get on over to their community and do things and empower their communities. They're not giving up their power in their community at all. They don't care how many times they done put your prick up in their throat. They're still going to empower their own community, and black people got to think the same way. The minute a black man or black woman gets to lay up with a white man or a white woman, all of a sudden we done gave up every ounce of power we have. We don't feel like we have to practice group economics. We don't feel like we have to build a community. We don't feel like we have to do shit. All of a sudden we think we're the Benetton ad people. We think we're the Kumbaya people. We think that we just got to give that up and everything is some big old happy utopia, and it's just not the reality. All groups of people look out for their group and they're going to empower their group except us. We got to empower ourselves. Now, I'm not saying you can't lay up with who you lay up with. You knock yourself out. Lay up with who you want to lay up with, but get up and empower yourself. Empower your community. If you're laying up with people to run away from yourself, that's not going to happen. You can't run away from yourself, family. Empowering yourself economically, you just can't get around that. You keep trying to tiptoe and dance around that, black folks are going to have to empower themselves economically. This is the only way we're going to overcome the Sterlings and the Clive and Bundys and all the white supremacists. We have to empower ourselves economically. That's going to protect ourselves. We just can't be vulnerable and at the whim of every suspected white supremacist out here on the planet. Because when you're vulnerable and broke and you don't have an economic base or a protection base, you'll do anything for money. This is why we got our asses open for anybody who has a check, because we don't have an economic base to pay ourselves. So just think about that. We got to get our money up. We got to get our ownership game up. There's no way around that, family. That's the bottom line. So let's cut out the goddamn victory laps. We run the victory laps when we get a black-owned league again. We did it before, we can do it again. And this is how you shut down the white supremacists who try to talk down on that, because that's a given. We're so upset about making those in the dominant society uncomfortable, we'll just give all of our own empowerment up just so we don't make them comfortable. Just so we don't make them uncomfortable. We got to get out of that mentality. Anyway, y'all, that's been today's episode of the Tariq Elite Show. Go to TariqElite.com. Get my brand new shirts at TariqElite.com right now. Get them right now, family. And also get the brand new pay-per-view special called Are We in a Post-Racial America? That's available for immediate download at TariqRadio.com. I'm going to holler at you on Ustream this Sunday. Peace.
Game Tariq Elite on Tariq Elite.